Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about, is your driving secretly being scored? So recently I got an email from one of my subscribers, Miss LG1961. Thank you so much for emailing me about this and making this video possible. Now, as gig workers, especially if you're on Doordash, one of the common concerns is that your driving is being scored, and if your driving is being scored, that information can end up in the hands of your insurance companies, raising the prices. Not to mention the overall invasion of privacy that is. But then again, we live in America, so secretly tracking us for everything that we do, what else is new these days? So with that said, we are talking about everything that's being said in this email, how it actually is for DoorDash, UberEats, and Grubhub drivers and customers, as well as all other drivers, apparently, and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. We were right. We all knew what Didi was up to. Be careful out there. Well, let's see if we're actually right in this regard. The privacy of drivers may be compromised as their vehicles track and share detailed driving data without their explicit knowledge. Recent reports indicate that automakers and data brokers are collecting and selling driver behavior data, which is subsequently used by insurance companies to adjust premiums. Oh, okay, so this isn't just gig workers, this is all drivers in every way. Now, a lot of gig workers also use older vehicles, and some of the technology in those older vehicles aren't up to par for what is necessary, but who knows if that's actually the case here. Owners of internet-connected vehicles, such as those with General Motors OnStar system, may have their driving patterns monitored, including instances of hard braking, rapid acceleration, and speeding. This data is shared with companies like LexisNexis and Verisk, which aggregate the information and provide it to insurers. This can lead to higher insurance rates for drivers perceived as risky on the collected data, which can raise the cost of your insurance, or even worse, get you uninsured by whatever reason. This was something that I specifically chose not to opt into. In fact, I remember Progressive offering me this feature to save on insurance, but it can also work in the opposite way where it could raise insurance rates. And I'm like, no, I would not want that. And she was like, yeah, I don't even blame you. And now they're just doing it on their own. Like, seriously. Ken Dahl, a Chevrolet Bolt owner, discovered a detailed report on his driving habits after his insurance premiums increased by 21%. This report, unbeknownst to him, documented 258 pages of his driving behavior over 6 months. Dahl's situation highlights a broader issue affecting many drivers who are unaware of the extent to which their data is being used and shared. You see, this is exactly why certain data sharing policies should not be allowed at all. And we're concerned about TikTok doing it. We're doing this all on our own turf, but as soon as somebody in the country does it, it's not okay. Yeah, all right. Many drivers might not realize they're enrolled in these data sharing programs. Some features like GM Smart Driver provide driving feedback, but also share insights with third parties. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if DoorDash was actually doing the same thing. I mean, they also have that thing where it's like,
you've hard braked this many times, you rapidly accelerated this many times.
Like, how much of that goes to our insurance companies? Like, can we get some actual information on that? How much have you fudged the numbers in that regard? Even without active enrollment, drivers have reported increased premiums, suggesting that data collection and sharing might occur by default. Oh, and we don't even have to opt into it without them doing it? Like, can we sue these people for that? What is the legal ramifications that are happening here? Because that's obviously the case in this regard. The data collected can be extensive, cover trip details, driving speed, and even brake habits. Automakers argue that these services are opt-in and can be disabled, but the complexity of the settings and the lack of transparency can make opting out of difficult for the average user. I feel like it's also gonna glitch at some point where for some reason it suddenly turns on again. Like whenever you turn on the car, like imagine going through that every single time. And then they wonder why we don't trust companies anymore. In response to these concerns, drivers are advised to review their car's privacy settings and opt out of any data sharing features where possible. They should also file privacy requests with automakers to understand what data has been collected and ask for its deletion if desired. States with strong consumer data privacy laws may offer additional protections and rights to access or delete the personal data. Do your research to see how you could do that if you have a system like an in-app, like an in-system GPS of any kind, just in case that's actually happening. The last thing you want is to buy a nice car and then it costs more just for driving it because some insurance company keeps pumping the prices on you. That also said, if you have an older vehicle, you might be in the clear here. The controversy around driving data collection underscores a growing debate on data privacy in the automotive industry. As vehicles become more connected, the potential for data misuse increases, prompting calls for stricter regulations to protect consumers. The U.S. government is considering tightening these regulations to ensure better privacy protection for drivers. Considering it? But here's the reality. We're too focused on everything else economically, everything else politically, in order to even approach the subject. This would need to happen yesteryear at this point, because this is something that is completely messed up in too many regards. And this is just a general article. This isn't about DoorDash doing it, Uber doing it, Grubhub doing it. I am sure that they're doing it as well. I'm actually surprised that didn't get covered in this article. Did they not want to talk about how DoorDash is tracking our mileage and potentially talking to insurance companies? This seems more like it's more automotive in general. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. Let's be realistic on the overall broad point. If you're about to say if you drive safe, then you won't have an issue, that may be true to a certain extent, but that also doesn't apply to real world driving. And I'm not even just talking about gig work. Yes, you end up driving all the time, and we would be driving so much more, and that's data that would go to our insurance companies. You're also not thinking about the prospect of other people choosing not to drive safely, whether it's a lack of education on the subject, whether it's a lack of information on the subject, or they just don't care, period. Or maybe the old lady in front of them is driving so freaking slow in the left lane, so they bolt around them. Meanwhile, that also causes an accident because they were trying to get around the old lady. Even though that old lady was completely wrong for being in the left lane and driving less, like half the speed limit, you were the one caught in the accident, meaning you were the one with all of those insurance premiums raised on you. Keep in mind, this is a very general article. This is not DoorDash, UberEats, Grubhub, Instacart, any of the companies we work with. Let's be honest, I have a mileage tracker. Would they sell my data? I don't know. It's possible. I would look into what it actually takes to opt out of those data sharing things. I think I might make videos on that, but it depends on what automaker you're actually using. If it's like Tesla, if it's like Toyota, what have you. Either way, look into it for yourself and make sure that you're doing what you can to protect your own data, because let's be honest, who else is going to look out for your financial safety and your personal safety and your privacy safety better than you are? Because all of those are in danger, with those going to who knows where, to who knows what, for who knows why. If you guys would also like to email me about something that's happening really more in the gig economy space, more than just the overall driving space, my email is drivenwyld@gmail.com. Feel free to email me there, and who knows, maybe you'll be shouted out in a video as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.